Alright, let's do a real basic tutorial on how to get a blaster bolt done. So step one is, of course, to animate the model and the gun to shoot. Like, give me a second here. Like so. Bang. Real simple. So for this, I usually go with like 2 or 3 frames for the shot itself. In this case, I went with 1, 2 for the shot, and then 4 frames for the recovery. Now, when it's all said and done, it's going to look like that, but 2 shots. So when you've got the blaster moving the way you want, you need to load up a blaster bolt model, which you can find on the workshop. So I can load this stuff up here. Alright, so Star Wars blaster bolt. So then what you're going to want to do with this is to line it up with the muzzle of the blaster. So for this, I'm going to bring it over, shift, click, voila, and just line it up with the gun, nice and straight. Alright, so once you've got it all lined up, then you're just going to want to animate the thing flying in whatever direction the guy is shooting. And for that, you could just do that. Take it all the way to wherever it's supposed to be. In this case, we can get straight to the wall, and then you can play around with where the keyframe is to determine how fast the shot moves. Just mess around with that until it looks right. So, get that. Looks good. Then, of course, we can't have this thing just sticking out here until he shoots. So, backtrack by 1 frame. Slide it back into the gun so it's out of sight. Then what I'm going to do is go to the motion editor. And I'm going to place a bookmark there and select all of the time before the blaster does anything. Go to the blaster itself. Grab some bone that moves, it doesn't matter, in this case I'm using the weapon bone. Lock it to the transform, slide the playhead so that the gun moves and the blaster bolt will move with it. Lock, because we only need to just do that for the tracking. So now that blaster bolt is hiding inside the gun and it's not going to move until it's time to shoot. So now, with that, we've got ourselves a 2-shot going. Bang, bang. And now for the muzzle flash to make it look really cool. So for that, we need to load up the particle, which again you can find in the workshop. I'm using a Warhammer 40,000 particle pack. It's just loaded with stuff. You're going to want to go to your muzzle flashes, muzzle flash custom, and select one of the plasma blasts. I'm just going to use the straight up plasma muzzle flash. And you have to make sure the playhead is on the frame you want it to start on. In this case here, when everything begins. And so once you've got that loaded in, select transform and load it in to where it's supposed to be. In this case, we'll put it here and line it up. And one thing you do have to remember to do in order to see the particle is click outside your range, come back in, boom, now you can see it. Otherwise, you won't. So once you got all that, make sure it's pointing the right way so that everything lines up straight. And it all looks pretty straight to me. And then you just let it roll. Just like that. Now you may be wondering why here when the blaster bolt is moving, you can't see anything. If you go to Clip Editor View and select your camera, for some reason. There we go. Either way, see, thanks to motion blur and all the extra stuff that happens in between frames, the thing's going to show up. I don't have an extra camera. So when you play it, bang, bang. And that's really all it takes to do it. Just animate the guy shooting. Then you throw in the blaster bolt, line it up, and then when he shoots, send that to wherever your target is. Play around with how long it takes to get there by sliding the keyframe around until it looks right. Then load up a particle, which when you're moving the particles around, click on transform. It's like your root transform thing, so that you get everything moved at once. Line it up correctly so that it's facing the same way as the gun. Make sure the frame you load it up on is the frame everything begins here, so that it all looks right. And that is really all there is to it. So there you have it. Simple blaster bolt. Happy animating.